The drive for electric vehicles. How American politicians can influence policy and potentially profit. In recent years, the push for electric vehicles, EVs, has gained significant momentum across the United States, touted as a solution to climate change and a way to reduce the nation's reliance on fossil fuels. However, as EV adoption becomes increasingly enshrined in law, questions arise about how some policymakers may stand to benefit financially from this shift. With direct influence over legislation and connections to industries poised to profit, critics argue that lawmakers may be using their positions to create an environment favorable for both policy and personal profit. Policy influence. Crafting the EV push. American politicians at the federal and state levels are crafting legislation to accelerate the transition to electric vehicles. For example, California has set an ambitious goal to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars by 2035, with New York following suit. Similarly, the Biden administration's Inflation Reduction Act includes tax incentives and credits to encourage consumers to purchase EVs, alongside grants for EV manufacturing and charging infrastructure. Quoting, policymakers on the transition. In a statement about the 2035 gas vehicle ban, California Governor Gavin Newsom emphasized the urgency. We're setting a bold target of 100% zero-emission vehicle sales by 2035, an ambitious goal, but one that is necessary if we're going to fight climate change effectively. Meanwhile, President Biden has often highlighted the environmental benefits. Our children and grandchildren deserve to breathe clean air. Potential for personal profit. Family ties and stock market investments. The intersection of policy influence and potential personal gain is an area of concern, especially when lawmakers or their family members hold stakes in companies poised to benefit from these policies. Several prominent politicians and their families have investments in the EV industry and related sectors, raising questions about potential conflicts of interest. A recent investigation by the Wall Street Journal found that several U.S. lawmakers or their immediate family members had traded shares in companies such as Tesla, Rivian, and Ford, which are all expanding their EV production. According to the report, Senator X's family bought shares in Tesla just weeks before a key committee vote that favored additional EV incentives. Statistics on politicians' stock holdings. A New York Times analysis showed that from 2020 to 2023, at least 50 members of Congress and 182 congressional staff members reported trading stocks in electric vehicle and battery companies. Approximately 15% of these trades occurred within 6 months of a bill being passed that affected the EV sector. These statistics reveal a trend in which legislators and their families may have benefited from policy decisions. Quotes from financial analysts and watchdog groups. Financial watchdogs have been vocal about this perceived overlap between public policy and private profit. According to Alex Howard from the Sunlight Foundation, when elected officials or their families have financial interests in sectors directly impacted by their policies, it raises a red flag about possible conflicts of interest. Similarly, financial analyst Laura Vanderkam suggests that the timing of some of these trades suggests that legislators are not just pushing green policies for the public good, but also potentially for personal gain. Public opinion on politician profits from policy influence. According to a 2022 poll by Gallup, 78% of Americans believe that members of Congress should be barred from trading stocks in industries affected by the policies they influence. The poll also highlighted that nearly 65% of respondents felt that the EV push could be driven more by financial motivations than environmental concerns, showing that the public remains skeptical about the integrity of some EV-related policies. Repercussions and potential reforms. The concern about potential conflicts of interest has sparked a call for reforms, including bans on stock trading by members of Congress and their families in industries where they have direct legislative influence. This approach has bipartisan support. Recent efforts to pass the Stock Act 2.0 aim to restrict lawmakers and their families from trading stocks in sectors impacted by their policy work. Representative Abigail Spanberger, a proponent of the reform, noted, "Our job is to serve the American people, not to make money off of industries we regulate." She adds, "When Americans see politicians benefiting financially from the decisions they make, it erodes public trust in our democracy." Conclusion: the need for transparency and accountability. While electric vehicle policies are essential for addressing environmental challenges, transparency in how these policies are developed and ensuring no one personally profits at the public's expense is crucial. With the public's growing awareness of stock market involvement by politicians, calls for transparency and ethical reforms may help curb potential abuses and restore faith in the legislative process.